All right, as always, thanks for tuning in this episode of Running Errands, round 2 with the one and only DJ Lush. Can you confirm it's you on the phone, sir?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Not much. It's mid-afternoon, and I think I got Lush before his nap because I think he sounds a little tired. Are you tired right now, buddy?
Oh, I'm fucking destroyed, bud. But, there's sleep when we're dead, There's no time.
I hear you. I really do appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to start off with some fun questions. First one I got for you is, what was your favorite movie of 2018?
That's a good question because I don't think I watched it. I don't think I watched a single new movie. And what came out this year? Honestly, I'm not a movie guy.
You're not a movie guy.
Everything's shit, man. It's all been done before. It's all corny. I don't give a shit. There's no. What movie came out in 2018 that was good? I don't think. Did I even go to the theater this year? I can't even remember.
I can actually attest to that. I agree with you. I did not go to the theater this year, but
I don't think I'm trying to remember. The last time I went to the theater was Rogue One. So that wasn't this year. That was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't even know.
And I assume the next time you go will be the next Star Wars movie.
I don't know, man. The last one was fucking so disappointing. I don't know if I can put myself through that anymore. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Walt Disney's really done a number on that series, haven't they?
Yeah, it's corny, man. It's corny. It was good. I had to sell my fucking Disney shares. Fuck them. There's nothing. You can't even.
You know what? That comment kind of leads into my next question. Who's your favorite comedian?
Comedian?
Yeah.
All time, two-way tie. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle.
Really?
Yeah.
Chris Rock. Did you watch? You know what? Then we got to say Dave Chappelle had a couple specials come out in 2018 that were well received. Did you?
Yeah. Those are. Yeah, but I didn't watch those in the theater. Yeah, those were great. Yeah, I saw all those. Yeah.
Cool. How about podcasts? Are you into? Sorry, go ahead.
No, not really podcasts, man. I don't listen to Joe Rogan or none of that shit. I don't. It's not. I just don't have the time. There's a few podcasts I listen to. I listen to the Rap Radar podcast, and I'm not like religiously. I'll listen to a lot of the rap podcasts. I'll listen to, and I enjoy like Resident Advisor, stuff like that.
Good
Just
stuff.
anything music related. Anything music related that's sort of like, intelligent, not some bullshit. That's what I'm into.
Well, I like to think we have that here on Running Errands, Mr. Lush.
Well, hey, listen.
I got a broaden my horizon. Where's the favorite place for you to take your dog? Like, where do you like to go and play?
I guess what's it called? Like Cherry Beach or Q Beach, or those, just anywhere down by the water.
Do they allow off leash down at Cherry Beach?
Yeah, there's a huge off leash area there. Enormous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to dive into some questions about DJ Lush, the artist. When I was looking up your name, I came across another DJ Lush from Colombia, and I'm curious, have you ever spoken to Kevin?
No, I never spoke to the dude, but I know that he exists because I'll get tagged in his shit, and he'll get tagged in my shit. And he's from Colombia, so I'm going to give him the benefit that, I'd say he's a pussy hole, but at the same time, he might be with the cartel, so I'm just going to just let it ride.
I like that.
Yeah, the Colombians, man, you don't really want to fuck with them too much. You know what I mean?
That's the truth. Well, in Toronto
he's some techno DJ. I don't know. There's a few. There's like a girl in Australia as well. There's a few. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Like, I'm definitely the longest standing one. I can guarantee that. But what are you gonna do? I'm gonna get in a fight with a stranger on the internet over a name. At the end of the day, just be the biggest you could be with it, and whatever, man. I could care less. So I don't give it any thought.
Well, what I was thinking is, if you remember when Bush came to Canada, they had to be Bush X. You could be Lush X.
No, I'm gonna stick with just Lush, and if they have a problem with it, they can do one. I don't know business.
Where did the name come from?
Talk to my lawyer if they got a problem.
Yes. Where did the name come from, DJ Lush?
So when I was DJing, I started DJing when I was about 15, 16, and for a while I was DJing, and I was just learning how to DJ, but I didn't have a name, and I knew I had to come up with a name. So I was sort of brainstorming with friends and stuff like that. And then what it was is there was actually I saw a flyer. I had a flyer for some rave that was in Montreal, and the flyer was it was like a big cartoon jungle with all these animals and shit in it. And the name of the party was Lush, and I saw that, and I just made the correlation between like a jungle and the name, and the funny thing is, not even realizing the other meaning of the name. I never even heard that term before. So it would be funny. So I'd tell people my name, and they'd laugh, and I'd be like, "What?" And I didn't actually, for a year or so, I didn't even know the other connotation of the name. It was just, to me, it was just jungle related, and so that's why I picked it. And then it got to a point where, by like '94, I was already starting to DJ, so like to play out. So at that point, changing it was pointless, so I just let it roll.
Oh, it's a great name. It's I have to say, every time I pass by the soap shop, I think about you. And
yeah, of course, yeah. Me, we're embroiled in a heated copyright dispute, But I think they got more money on the lawyer than I do, so I'm just gonna keep it low key.
I get you. Let me ask you, in your eyes, what makes a good DJ?
Well, the first, mainly it's the passion for what you play, man. Like you gotta wholeheartedly love what you play. For me, I've never ever played a tune that I don't like because I thought the crowd liked it. I can't do that. It's not possible for me. So it's really the most important thing is the passion, and then the other thing is, before you're worried about your mixing, before you're worried about even the music you play, you need to be a good DJ is someone who can read the room and sort of have a sort of inherent feeling for like the energy of a room and how to sort of manipulate people. That's the number one thing for a DJ.
Hold on, you know
before
what?
anything else.
Lush, I want to dig in on what you're saying, because I understand what you're saying profoundly, but I think there's a bit of a contradiction in that you said at the beginning, we don't play what we want because the crowd wants to hear it, but in the same breath you're saying you need to be able to read the room and know what the crowd wants to hear. So can you elaborate more on what
I'm aware of the contradiction, but the reality is I won't play any music that I don't like, but I also like a broad range, within drum and bass or whatever else I might be playing. I do like a broad range of it, so that I know that there are times where I might be in the mood to play, I don't know, I just mean on a deeper tip, for example. I might want to be playing deeper or darker, but my instinct will tell me that the crowd just doesn't want that right now, or can't handle it, or they're not prepared for it. So I'll play other music that I like, that fits the emotion that the crowd is looking for, or fits the energy that the crowd, that instinct tells me the crowd needs at that time. And that's what it boils down to. It's called DJ instincts. And that's what makes a good selector and a good DJ, is they have the instincts to read the room. And, while I'll never play a tune that I don't like, I'll also never ever, just stand up there and play only what I want to play without any regard for what my instincts are telling me for the room.
Sure.
Ever. That's the difference between someone who's a good DJ and someone who's a shit DJ. Because, anybody can sit in their house and practice a set over and over again and go to the party and just play that. And technically it might be a really well executed set, from a technical mixing standpoint. But if you're not connecting with the crowd, then that doesn't mean you're a good DJ. It just means you were able to practice something, and through the art of repetition, you were able to pull something off. But that doesn't make you a good DJ. I don't rate any DJ that plans their set. That's not DJ. So any DJ that comes in, and I know the DJ, and you can tell, I know right away. If I'm playing and you're standing behind me, and you hear me play a tune, and then you go on and play that same tune 25 minutes later, because that was the little planned mix you had in your head, you're out in my books. I've cut you out. You're not up for consideration in the DJ category immediately at that point.
That's interesting what you just said there about a person playing the same tune that's been played prior. Can you elaborate more on that as well? Like, what do you think about a song selection? Do you think it's okay for a DJ, let's say, opening up, to play a song that might be played by a headlining DJ, like one of their own tunes, let's say?
That's just etiquette. It's extremely bad taste to do that. And again, if you're a skilled enough DJ, like for example, look, we all have our artists that we love, and there's, I've been fortunate to DJ with pretty much every artist that I love, and there might be artists whose music I play a lot of in my sets just naturally. If I'm playing before them, I have to dial it back. I have to not play their music, or if I'm going to play their music for whatever reason, I have to be considerate of maybe playing something that's like really, much older that they're not necessarily going to play. You also have to be aware of that artist, like, when they play, how much of their own music do they play. It's just down to studying not even studying, just being aware, just knowing. Like if you're up on the music and you're up on the artists and you're up on the labels and whatnot, you're just going to know. But yeah, it's more so than it being in bad taste to be playing the artist's music that you're opening for. What I'd say really, the other thing that really drives me crazy is when you walk into a club at 10:30, 11 o'clock, and the guy he's playing like it's 1 a.m. at a festival. Like that again, that's another telltale sign of someone who's not a good DJ. They're not experienced. They don't have good DJ instinct. They're playing a pre-planned, pre-recorded set, not pre-recorded, but pre-planned, sort of, this is what I'm doing. And they don't have, there's definitely an ego issue there. Like, they're not able to, setting the vibe and the atmosphere of a room is a key skill. And if someone who's playing way too hard too early is the sign of an inexperienced DJ.
That's interesting.
And that's something that I'm very cognizant of. And that's why, and I fight with promoters about this all the time. Believe me, all my friends that I work with, and they'll all tell you, I fight with them about this all the time. I believe in 5-6 DJs on a bill. To me, your opening DJ should play a 3-hour set, right? So if I'm playing, I love those sets. I tell them all the time, listen, don't book 4 DJs and have one guy playing 9 to 10, one guy playing 10 to 11. Fuck all that. I'll play from 10 to 1, and then your headliner can go on. Because then you can properly build up the energy of a room and properly build up the tension and hand it over to someone now who's going to come on and, quote unquote, smash it. That to me is that's one of my true passions as a DJ is doing that, getting those opportunities. I love those sets. But if you have someone who's playing 10 to 11, and then another one is playing 11 to 12, and then another one's playing 12 to 1, the night becomes disjointed. And then you're always getting guys that they're playing too hard too early, or they're just not reading the room properly because they're so concerned about trying to, show off, I guess, in their little amount of time. And it's not always their fault. I mean, if it's someone who they're trying to get a name for themselves, I understand you want to play your best, but playing your best doesn't always mean playing your hardest or playing your fastest or playing your most intense. That doesn't necessarily equate to playing your best. So it all goes down to your experience and confidence as a DJ. Someone who's playing too hard too early, and that to me shows a lack of experience, and it also shows a lack of confidence. They're scared. They're worried that they're not gonna make an impact, so they overcompensate. And you see it all the time. I see it all the time. To be honest with you, I see it all. I'm not going to name names, but I see it all the time because I'm out and about, and it's a sign of immaturity as a DJ, and I don't respect it at all.
No, and honestly, I never thought of it the way you just explained it. So thank you. You enlightened me even in a way that I never really thought of it like that. I do remember certain parties where there would only be 3 or 4 DJs rather than 12. Because I'm going to throw one other thing in there is that not only do they only get 10 to 11, but half the time it's back to back with someone. So they're not.
Yeah.
So they have to play
it's a
off
tough
that.
goal. It's a tough goal. Look, it's easy for me to sit back and say, because obviously I'm a bit more established than most, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know for me personally, and the promoters will all tell you this, you can't book me for a back-to-back set anymore. I don't accept them anymore, and I haven't for a couple of years. And the reason for that is I don't enjoy them. And me personally, I need to get in my zone, and to get in my zone, I need some space and some time to just start rolling it out, and then I get into my zone. And if I'm playing back-to-back, I don't get into my zone. You know what I mean? So, but if obviously, look, you have to take the opportunities that come to you. And if there's a promoter that's booking you and, he's asking you to play an early set back-to-back, you should absolutely, I advise you to take it, obviously. But you have to take every opportunity that you get. But you need to maximize those opportunities. And maximizing those opportunities, again, does not necessarily correlate with I'm going to go on at 10 o'clock and smash it like I'm playing at 1 a.m. to a packed club. That's not necessarily maximizing your opportunity. Maximizing your opportunity to me is the promoter's booking me at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to show him that I can play properly at 10 o'clock.
That's interesting. I think,
and again, that goes back to just maturity as a DJ.
No, it definitely, and also opportunity, like you said, like the fact, I was going to say, I hear that with MCs a lot too, where the guy maybe gets 10 minutes on the mic and he just spews a bunch of stuff out. And it's like, dude, chill out. But maybe if you gave him more time.
Well,
go ahead.
Again, but see, I mean, that's a whole other issue. I mean, it's relatable to the DJ issue, but that's just the ego of that guy.
Once
you know, I only have 10 minutes. I only have 10 minutes to shine, so I'm going to ruin everybody's night by overcompensating for 10 minutes because I'm trying so hard to get noticed. Well, if that 10 minutes is your only shot to get noticed, then maybe you're not as good as you think you are because no one's really checking for you to give you those opportunities. So that's why your little 10 minutes there is you feel all you got. And again, you only have 10 minutes as an MC or a DJ, whatever. Like maybe just I don't know, man. It's corny. Like it's whack. I don't feel it.
I'm with you.
The MC, you know, you can't. It goes down to ego, man. Like you're not bigger than the party. You know what?
You
have a job to do.
You're not the first person I talked to about this. Me and Clayton Hines had the exact same conversation around the same topic, and I didn't agree at first because I said when you book a DJ, you're booking them to do what they do, and if they come do what they do, and it's at 10 to 11 or if it's at 1 to 2, they've come to do their job. So if you don't want them to be, let's say, a jump-up DJ playing bangers at 11 o'clock, don't book them. But to say that it's the DJ's fault for doing their job at that's what my point was with when I spoke to Clayton. But you're bringing it up in a different way, saying, no, us as a DJ, we have a responsibility to know the atmosphere, what the promoter's asking for us, that we have to, almost like an opening band, you don't show up the main stage band, right? And I didn't think of it in that way. So thank you for, like I say, enlightening me.
Yeah, but as a DJ, if you're only capable of playing one way, again, I don't care how well you play that one way, you're not a good DJ. Right?
Let's throw out a hypothetical, Brett, just for argument's sake. Let's say you had a party and you booked Andy C as your opener, Pendulum as your next DJ, and Ronnie Size as your next, and then Hype as your next. Would you expect Andy C to play less, not to play a regular Andy C set because he knows Pendulum is going to be the big headliner, so he shouldn't show them up?
I mean, that particular analogy is kind of weird. It doesn't really make sense because there's nobody bigger than Andy, period. Mm-hmm. So that would never happen. But I hear what you're saying, hypothetically. And Andy is a phenomenal DJ and understands how to play. I've seen Andy play at Swerve. Andy can play anything, anytime, anywhere. Right? Andy's in an enviable as well as, I would say, difficult position because there's a concept that Home Unit talks about that it resonates with me greatly. It talks about it's the quote unquote the obligation to smash it, and there's no DJ on this planet who has that quote unquote obligation to smash it more than Andy C, because people are going to see Andy and they expect him to fucking wow them. Mm-hmm. So it's enviable that he's built himself up to that position. It's also a lot of pressure where he's if you see Andy C and he doesn't smash it, you're like disappointed, and then that's when the talk starts coming in. He's not as good anymore, and this guy's better than him. So it's a lot of stress for someone like Andy to be in that position. Now, to take it back to what you were talking about before, that lineup that you just said there, all of them, Hype's a real DJ, and Andy's a real DJ. Ronnie and Pendulum, I can't speak as much to that for them.
Sure, I get what you mean.
But yeah, although Hornet's a real DJ, I'll give him credit on that. But at the end of the day, if you put Andy or Hype in that slot, they know how to play. So, because they're real DJs.
And you know what? As you were speaking, I thought about the Deadbeats Jam, where they had Andy C kind of sandwiched between a couple guys that I didn't think belonged.
Yeah, listen. Anytime I see an event like that, in my head, I'm like, I hope that they're paying him 5 times his normal wage, because that's A, it's disrespectful, B, it's actually work for Andy. But the brazen disrespect to that is unbelievable. Like, I'm looking at these corny festival lineups, and he's a bigger DJ than every single person on that lineup put together.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like, the numbers don't lie.
Well,
the guy sold out Wembley. Sold out Wembley Arena. The guy's doing fucking 13 weeks, 3 years in a row. Well, 2 years in a row. XOYL sold out every night. None of those DJs on any of those lineups of those festivals he plays has that pull. None of them. So them putting Andy on a festival like that, I hope they're paying him, and in certain cases I have the inside information, and they are paying him, triple the rate or whatever, because they're just using him to get people through the door to hear the other idiot play or whatever. So yeah, that shit is exceptionally disrespectful.
Well, and you know what? I want to sidebar about it for a moment. Did you hear what happened at that party, the Deadbeats party to Andy C?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what happened. Yeah, I heard.
And that's what made it even worse, is to watch that happen to Andy. And he still put on a killer
set. Listen, Andy had a good payday that day. It was a good day at the office for him, And at the same time, he could tell his agent not to accept those gigs.
Exactly. So, and that's what I mean.
He's at fault. He's at fault too. But overall, it's to me, it's mind-blowing. Like, I just don't understand it. There's no reason for it. He's a bigger DJ than it. Now, granted, his draw isn't as big in North America as it is in Europe. That's fair, but still, me personally, if I was him or his agent, the only way I'd be accepting those types of events is you're paying me for that shit, and they are. So I guess that's what it boils down to,
Well, okay, that leads us into this. Do you think that a successful DJ should produce?
No, I don't. But I mean, that argument is long changed now. I mean, they're two separate disciplines, and they always have been, and they're not necessarily correlated. Obviously, being a good producer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good DJ, and being a good DJ definitely doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a producer. And that's why we have so much shit music out here, because you have all these people making music they're only making music because they feel that's their only outlet in order to DJ, which is what they really want to do. But that's why you have all this clone soulless music, because it's being made. There's no art behind it. There's no intention behind it. People are making it as a commodity, so the music sounds good, But yeah, of course, there's always exceptions to the rules. There's guys that are great at both, but they're two very separate disciplines. And somewhere along the line, sort of the commerce of electronic music shifted in a way, and this has been, a good, definitely since the turn of the millennium, shifted in a way that the commodity of the marquee name of a DJ has to be propped up with production. And I don't know when and how that happened, but it did. And the art of DJing has suffered greatly because of it, and great DJs that are excellent DJs aren't going to get the shine. And it's just the way it is. It's not even really worth complaining about. It's just the way it is. So that's why, again, the flip side now is you have people that are making music not because they have something to contribute to the art, but they're doing it because, well, I need, in order to DJ, I have to make some tunes. So, and you hear it, and that's the difference between the true artists and the guys that are just, just there. So,
what?
It's a bigger draw, but it's in a perfect world, the best DJs would be at the top, and the best, and the best producers who are also great DJs would be at the top, but that's just not the way it goes. But that being said, I mean, if you think back, to the 90s and whatnot, and the early 2000s, where a lot of I remember when Dylan just started DJing. I remember when T.A.F started DJing. Like, they weren't DJs and Goldie as well, just to name a few. And you would see producers come in and DJ, and their DJing skills would be horrible, but you still wanted to see them play, because this is that artist that's made all this music that you love. But over time now, a lot of these guys have become much better DJs. You know what I mean? And for two reasons. One, especially unique to drum and bass, that drum and bass has is to take you back to that sort of Andy C factor, which is the expectation or the caliber of technical DJing in drum and bass is higher than any other electronic music. So, and because the cool thing about drum and bass specifically is because the best technical DJ is also the biggest DJ, that sets the bar, so everyone's sort of trying to attain that. So now you get the producers who are DJing, which is pretty much all the DJs now, they're all DJing at a very, very high level, to be fair. Like, there's very few guys out there that are total fucking hacks. You know, they really don't, especially if they're younger. They don't exist. So it's good. The bar is much higher now. But definitely, you know, there's so many producers from the earlier days where you'd see them come and DJ and it would just be atrocious. You know what I mean? It didn't take anything away from their status as producers, but they were just awful DJs. But now, you know, a lot of those same guys, they've upped their game considerably, and they're very capable DJs and deserve the marquee they get, you know.
One of the things that I think of was the days of the white label, where if you weren't necessarily a good DJ or a good producer, you could at least know good producers, have a bunch of white labels, and still get booked. Do those days, you think?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I got to ask, because I saw that you did a little excerpt for Clayton Hines' new book, and it was very well written. And I got to ask you, you're a very articulate person, and I'm sure others want to know this. Will we ever see a book from DJ Lush?
I mean, I don't have no plans, you know. Who knows? You know, the writing thing came sort of by necessity, because, well, you know, it actually came when we were doing the Channel 1 project, and we needed to, you know, whenever we put out a mix with her, we had to have sort of a blurb attached to it. And I had other people do it, and I just wouldn't be happy with it. And I say, no, I'll do it like this. And I would just end up doing it. And then that just kind of snowballed into people asking me to do stuff for them. And then as far as what Clayton's concerned, I mean, Clayton basically insisted that when he's like this project with the book, I've been with him on this for the project right from the start. Like, when he called me up and he says, listen, I think I'm going to write a book. I need you to help me out. And I was like, you know, because it's him, I was like, of course. You know, Clayton and I have a long history. He's a very good friend of mine. So I was editing his book in the early stages and helping him sort of get his ideas like cohesive, you know. And at one point he was like, I want you to write the foreword for the book. And I was like, why? Like, a foreword for a book is supposed to be like somebody with like a big name, you know, like you whoever, like any book, it'll be all forward by such and such, and it's some esteemed person, so it helps to sort of sell the project. But he insisted that I do it, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So I did it, and he liked it, and so he used it.
It's awesome.
So
it was very well.
I guess it kind of worked out. Well, thank you. I just wanted to sort of explain my personal story with him in a way that sort of gives a bit more insight into him. So hopefully people like it, and hopefully the project works.
I hope so too. Just a couple more questions. You touched down on Channel 1. I wanted to ask you, what is your involvement? What can we expect from Channel 1 and Inner City Dance?
Well, Channel 1 is we closed that down, I don't know, a few years ago now. It just, that project sort of ran its course.
Okay.
So that's not happening anymore. But we actually, as far as mixes and radio and stuff, we literally just started last night our new show on ISO Radio, In Search of Radio, which is a new project that is in the soft launch stage right now. So we just literally did our first show last night. So as far as in relation to what the stuff I used to do for Channel 1, all that energy will be on this monthly show on ISO. And then with Inner City Dance, we're all firing on all cylinders. Like, we got next release is a Marcus Visionary EP, which is out in a few weeks. Then we have a couple releases lined up after that, and then we also have with Inner City Dance now we have 4 sort of side labels, sister labels. We have Bear Selection, which is Freezer Chin and JMKM's label that we administer for them. Well, that's sort of like a grime label. And then we have Stereo One, which is sort of just a straight jungle label, which is Marcus curates that label entirely, and it's going to be mainly the home for his music, but there's going to be other stuff on it as well. And then we have Rocksteady, which is like basically just a Raga Jungle bootleg label for stuff where samples that we can't clear, basically. Mm-hmm. And then we have Inner City Dubs, which is it's Inner City Dance, but it's all our garage and funky and 140 stuff.
Gotcha.
So it's that's where we're at with that right now. We got releases lined up on all that over the next few months. It's going to be a busy year for us.
I love it, man. And I don't know how you stay focused with all those things to pay attention to. I'd go a little nutty, but big ups to you for having your hand in so many plates. I gotta ask, what kind of advice would you give to any kind of artist, DJ, trying to make it in today's industry?
Keep your integrity no matter what. And part of that would mean, it sort of goes back to what we were talking about with DJing and whatnot. Is just at the end of the, you have to maximize your opportunities always, but at the same time, don't do shit because you think it's the hot shit if your heart's not in it. Just maintain your integrity at all times. If it just at the end of the day, being an artist or a DJ or whatever, you need to be a singular entity, meaning that you have to represent yourself. So it's got to be. Your heart's got to be in it fully at all times. So don't chase the carrot, so to speak.
No, it's
just maintain your integrity. You know what I mean? And don't lose sight of why you do stuff. At the end of the day, like, listen, people get you see it all the time. People get frustrated or they get down with maybe they feel like they haven't got where they feel they deserve to get with the endeavor or whatever, and they have all they point the finger at all sorts of this person, that person, this company, politics, blah blah blah. I mean, that's sure all that maybe exists, maybe it doesn't, but the best word of advice I can give to someone to have longevity in this is don't let anything come between your personal love affair with the music above all else. That's the most important thing. Like, so if it's the business aspect of it, the money aspect of it, whatever, none of that stuff's important compared to your personal relationship with the music. That's the most important thing. So if that so for me, if my phone stops ringing tomorrow, believe me, I'm in my house DJing until the day I die. Nothing will change. The only thing that will change is my exposure.
Awesome. Great answer, man. All right, final one, fun one. Hopefully you'll give me an answer. I have to say, a few people have bowed out of this because they said it's just not possible, but I hope you won't do that. If you could create a Mount Rushmore for drum and bass, who would your four faces be?
Well, the problem is four faces doesn't encompass, that's tough. That's what makes that a tough question, because there's a lot more than four contributors that would deserve that position.
Sure, I agree.
I guess right off the bat, you have to have Groove Rider and Fabio. That is literally that's the foundation. Period. So you'd have to have them.
Okay.
And it's tough. It is a very tough question to be fair, because it's insinuating that there's only four people responsible for the whole thing, and that's of course totally false, right? But Mount Rushmore, definitely Fabio and Groove Rider. It goes without question. That's the foundation of everything, And then the other two ones, you'd have to have those fucking those new billboards where they switch every 10 seconds to another act.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do that in Mount Rushmore with four spots. You gotta have those rotating faces. Otherwise, it's just, if you're gonna get some dickhead to carve it all in stone, you're wasting your time, because you're just gonna have to change it again. So you need to get like a digital one that switches every 10 seconds. Then you can put all the correct people up there, and then you'll cover all the bases.
And I find it interesting that, because it's not necessarily, when you look at Mount Rushmore, it's not the founding fathers, right? It's not like they put up Franklin and Jefferson and Washington. They put up four of their presidents, and if we were to look at it today, we might chisel a couple new ones in. But so I wouldn't say it's necessarily that if you were to name the four faces, these are the four responsible people for drum and bass. It's just, for me, honestly, when I answered it to myself, I said telepathy. Like, I put Andy C with Skibba, Det, and Stevie, because that tape was, to me, something that really was instrumental in what made me want to love drum and bass. But I wouldn't say that if I was to name the four most influential or the people that got us to where we are today, that it would be the same answer. Do you get where I'm coming from?
No, I understand. Yeah, and based on that, Andy obviously would be on that as well. So Groove Rider, Fabio, Andy C, and then you got one spot left.
I put DJ Lush.
That's very kind of you, but I'd definitely put Randall at least ahead of me. At least Randall.
Daddy Randall.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a tough question. It's a tough question. I mean, all right, sure. So, Guru, Fabio, Randall, Andy. There's your four.
There, and you know what's?
But
It's not meant to be tough. It's meant to be fun. I don't think enough people listen to my shit to ever get offended.
no, I'm not offended. I think my personal love for the culture makes it difficult for me to omit key people. You know what I'm saying?
I like your changing of the board, like the way that it's going to flip, like the
yeah,
signs.
that's the only way you can do it, man. Because there's so I can come up with like 20 people that are like so, cornerstones of this whole culture that deserve that honor. So like I said, I mean, it starts with Fabio and Groove Rider, and Andy C's definitely earned his spot, and Randall's 100% on there. But so is Brian G, so is Frost, so is Doc Scott, so is Four Hero, so is Rebel MC, so is Paul Ibiza, and the list just goes on and on and on. You know what I mean? So is Goldie. There's a lot of people that deserve that honor, that are crucial to the culture.
You know what it makes me think of now is those old pictures of all the hip hop people. It's like a collage, and you got to like, oh, there's Big L, there's. It's like we could do one of those for drum and bass people, right?
You 100% could. Absolutely, you absolutely could, and probably someone should do it.
If there's an artist listening, please, we'd love it if you rendered that photo. That would be an amazing thing, especially all of our fallen soldiers.
As long as they do it accurate, because I'm the guy who's going to look at it and be like, oh, you left this guy off, you left that guy off, and I'm going to be upset about it, And I'm going to tell you something about yourself. So, you better get your crayons back out there, bud. You got a couple of phases you got to etch back on, But
man, okay.
Just me, I'm a sucker for details.
I love it though, buddy. Okay, that was the last one. I'm going to wrap up with you, but stay on the phone. I want to talk to you a little bit, okay? Just stay with me.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Guys, that was him. I hope you enjoyed talking to him as much as I did. As always, thanks for tuning in, running errands. Until next time, peace out.